So, the topic of discussion for this presentation is if you are not getting Singapore PR, then is Canada or migrating to Canada worth considering? And I have 16 points to discuss on this. Now, before I start this presentation, I need to clarify something about the background of this video. This video is for somebody who is working in Singapore on employment pass, S pass, PP, or something like that, and thinking of applying PR in Singapore, and in comparison also considering migrating to Canada. So what happens, sometimes people don't get PR approval in Singapore, and then they start thinking whether they should migrate to Canada. And sometimes some people have already decided that they want to migrate and settle in Canada permanently. So this video is for them. If you are watching this video and you are not currently working in Singapore on employment pass or S pass, then you can go through the video, but the comparison may not be relevant for you because you cannot apply for Singapore PR. Remember, Singapore PR can be applied only if you have worked in Singapore and currently in Singapore. It is not like Canada where you can apply it from some foreign country. So moving on to the next slide then. First of all, why people think of Canada? Now there are few reasons. First of all, Canada runs largest migration program in the world. So Canada takes under skilled migrant program as high as 400,000 people per year. So total 400,000 people migrate to Canada and it is the largest program. They have an easy point-based system. So if you satisfy those points, let's say that the cutoff is 100 and you make 120 points, then you are more or less guaranteed to get this PR. You only need to provide proper documents, and so long as documents are in order, there is no issue. It is also a fastest approval program, and after applying PR, approval will normally come within 4 to 6 months. Australia, it is around 1 to 2 years, and Singapore, you know what is the situation. So these are the reasons why people think of Canada. And let's look at some of the points of comparison. And at the end of all the points, we will make the conclusion. I actually know many people who went to Canada and then came back to Singapore again on employment pass. So the first point is per capita income. And for this, I am taking the reference here to be 2020. So Singapore's per capita income was 60,000 US dollars. That means every person, average person in Singapore earns 60,000 US dollars in that year. Whereas for Canada, it is 43,000 US dollars. So Canada's per capita income is almost 25% lower compared to Singapore, and obviously Singapore scores here. The next point is about low personal taxes. So Singapore, we know tax rates are low. Canada average tax on income is around 42%. So what happens if you earn income of 200,000 in Canada as well as in Singapore, then the taxes in Canada are going to be 84,000, whereas in Singapore it will be 21,000 only. As a result, there will be a significant impact on your post-tax income and it will be quite low in Canada. So what happens in Canada, you have multiple types of income taxes. You have federal income tax, provincial income tax, then you have unemployment benefit insurance. So all this adds to a significant amount in terms of taxes. Then there is Canada healthcare plan also, for which you have to make some contribution. The next point is that it is not easy to get job. So when you apply for migration to Canada, maybe by the agent or by the beautiful brochures those are presented to you, you always believe that it is very easy to get job. As if you are going to land there and next day a job better than what you are doing today is what you are going to get. Unfortunately, that is not true, especially in non-IT fields. Even IT field also, it is not very easy to get job in Canada. So what happens is, first of all, the process is quite slow. It is not fast like that in Asia. Like you give interview today and maybe by end of this week you get a letter of appointment and you start the job from next week. That is a style of working in Asia. But when you go to Canada, it is a very slow process. You will apply for the job and then you will be interviewed, and then maybe for a couple of months you won't have anything. No reply from the employer. And then afterwards they might inquire again something about you, and this process will go on. The second problem is companies will often look for Canadian experience. And Canadian experience you don't have as a fresh migrant. So obviously there is a hurdle there as well. The next point is that cashiers and retailer jobs are many. But the question is, are you are going to accept? For example, you might be a director in a marketing agency here in Singapore, or maybe a good director job in your country of residence. Now, if you go to Canada and you have to become a cashier in a supermarket, I don't think that is going to be very interesting and fulfilling for you. So you may have to do some job compromises to get a job in Canada, and that for Asians is a bit difficult. The next important point is weather. Now Canada weather is very extreme. It's harsh. In winter, winters last for almost 7 or 8 months, and in winter at the peak time it can be as low as minus 30 degrees Celsius in winter. In that period, working from home is a common thing. You cannot go out easily. For example, shopping malls or any friend's place, generally you cannot go because it is very harsh. As a result, many people experience depression. Moreover, in winter, normally the nights are long. So sun will set at around 4 o'clock in the evening and the sun will come out next day 9 o'clock in the morning. So these long nights are known to have depression impact on many Asians in Canada. It is also sometimes dangerous. The weather can get dangerous, especially if you are driving a car and maybe it just got stalled on a highway and now you need to get out where the visibility is very poor and maybe some other passing car can hit you also. So weather has got multiple impacts. I will say Singapore also doesn't have a great weather, but it is not as harsh as Canada. In Singapore, you can keep your windows open and let natural air in your house, and you can go out without wearing any special clothing for protection from winter or something like that. The next point is about languages. Now, Canada mostly is English speaking country, but there are certain provinces, for example, Quebec, and there is one more which I forgot the name. They have a language of French. Now, if you happen to land in these provinces, then it will be very difficult to connect with people over there. The next point is about cost of living. The cost of living in Canada is quite high. The properties are costing $1 million. You need to maintain 2 cars. Petrol is costly. And on top of that, you have to pay various taxes. So the people I know who are in Canada tell me that out of your salary, you will end up paying taxes, then insurances, then mortgages, and then the question comes, what do you really save? Now, I'm not saying that Singapore is the cheapest place. Singapore also $1 million properties are there. If you want to buy a condo below $1 million is very difficult to get. But you don't have to buy a condo. You can buy a resale flat at around say 400,000 or 500,000 from HDB scheme if you get PR. Secondly, you will say that cars in Singapore are also costly, but you don't have to buy the car. The public transport infrastructure is so good that you can just walk to MRT and take MRT and conveniently go anywhere. If you were to take a taxi in Singapore, maybe using Grab or Gojek, it will cost maybe $15-20 for a normal taxi ride. Whereas in Canada, a simple taxi ride can cost you 80 Canadian dollars. So moving on to the next point then is about free healthcare. So free healthcare should be actually a positive point, but I am listing it here as a negative point. And here is why. So basically the healthcare is free, but you pay actually high taxes to finance that healthcare. So government puts taxes on your income at a higher rate because it can finance healthcare and that benefit can be given to entire Canadian population. Unfortunately, this free healthcare is far from efficient. There are complex things over there. For example, the doctor who stays near your house or who has a dispensary near your house may not be taking any patient. That means you cannot go and enroll your name with that doctor. So you will have to find the doctor who is taking patients first. And for that, you might have to travel miles and miles. So it is possible that your doctor or the doctor who is going to attend to you in case of need is going to be staying something like 50 miles away. And then the question is, if you are having a fever or something like that, are you going to drive that much time to his dispensary just for a checkup and getting medicines? So the system is not really efficient and it is not really beneficial to the people. There is private healthcare, but that is extremely costly. One more point is that doctors work from 9 to 5. So you need to take a day off. For example, in Singapore, you will notice that most of the normal dispensaries are open till 9 o'clock in the night. So even in the evening, if you want to pick up your medicine or something like that, you can go over there after your office hours. But that's not the case in Canada. Specialists will always need a referral. You cannot directly go to specialists. And moreover, if there are any specific treatments or specific scans or something like that, they can be ridiculously delayed. For example, my friend who is in Toronto, he got once a hairline fracture in his leg and he was asked to take an X-ray and he was given a date of 2 months later. So how can you expect a person who is suspecting a hairline fracture to wait for 2 months just to take an X-ray? The next point is you drive everywhere. So if you want to get even milk, you will need to get your car out. You will have to go to the supermarket or some convenience store, buy milk and go back. The distances are not walkable. If something is there in a walkable distance, then you will be lucky. But majority of the cases, that's not the situation. If you want to send your son and daughter to the school, you will have to drive. Now that's not a case in Singapore. My son goes to a school which is around 15 kilometers away and he goes every day by MRT. And he changes also MRT in between from one line to the other. I don't have to drop him every day. If I want to buy any milk, groceries or anything, there are so many shops near and downstairs. I just get out of my condo and there is a NTUC at the petrol pump shop. And then there is a UA market also. So these things do not really appear very clear when you think of that country as an option. But when you really go to the ground level and start thinking about all this, it starts making some sense. The next point is distance. So this is the map of Asia. And the red dot at the middle of this circle is Singapore. And a circle that is in the blue line roughly represents 5 hours of flight time. So if you are from Asia and if you are in Singapore, settled here, you are normally within 5 hours flight distance to anywhere in Asia. And because it is only 5 hours, most of the places you will find direct flights. You don't have to change and go for connecting flights. And the tickets are also cheap. For example, $300, $400, we used to get ticket for India. Now that is not a case with Canada. If you have to travel from Canada to anywhere in Asia, take it for granted that you're going to lose 2 days. So you need to make these plans too much in advance. If there is some kind of emergency situation in your home country with your parents, or if there is some kind of festival for which you want to go back to your home place, then that's not possible. But in case of Singapore, that's not a problem. The next point is about public transport. Public transport in Canada is almost non-existent. I mean, there is some elements of public transport in Vancouver and Toronto, but other than that, majority of the places, they don't have any public transport. And in Canada, taxis are also very costly. Now, in comparison to this, we know that Grab, the taxi app company, is quite cheap, $10 $15. You can go from one end of Singapore to somewhere in the city center at non-peak hours. And if you are going at a peak hour, it might be $25, but it is still cheap. And on top of that, we have excellent public infrastructure. You have buses, you have MRT trains, and all of them are very well conditioned. The next point is about loneliness and depression. So, what happens? Canada is a very large country, so they have a specific style of living. Especially out of major cities, you will find that there are large houses with significant land around it, and the houses are also quite apart. There are one or two shopping malls or shopping centers in each city like this, but empty places are quite common. On top of that, the winters are harsh, the days can be small. This all adds to feeling of loneliness. So if you are an Asian who has been, born and brought up with a sense of having people around you. For example, if you are from India, you are from Bangladesh, you are from Japan, you are from Philippines, you are from Indonesia, then you have this sense of having a lot of people around you. That feeling will be lost and you will feel lonely. And that will eventually add to the depressive tendencies. Now, this problem doesn't come with Singapore because it is a city country. The population density is 7,000 per square kilometer. If you feel lonely, you can just get into any shopping mall and your loneliness will go away. Moreover, you are also likely to find a lot of friends from your ethnic background and from your home country with whom you can connect and create your network. The next one is about food. So the food in Singapore, you have a lot of options. In $3 to $5, you will get one meal at a food court, and there will be a lot of choices. You can get Indian food, you can get Malaysian food, you can get Korean food, Japanese food, whatever you want is available. And obviously, there are options of better dining like top end restaurants also. In Canada, it is not so easy. Variety is also not there, especially out of major cities. What you will have to do is spend at least minimum $50 for dine in at a reasonable place. Education. Singapore universities, NTU and NUS, rank in top 13 worldwide universities list. Local education in Singapore is also good. And Asian focus more on these aspects, so these are important. None of the Canadian university is in top 20. Moreover, whichever Canadian universities are in top, they will be somewhere in Toronto or Vancouver. So if you are staying away from this, then it may not be easy for your children to attend to these universities. The next one is cultural differences. Obviously, Canada is in North America, so it is quite a distinct culture. The way people work, way people interact, and their style and everything is different. And many people, especially from Asia, find it not so easy to integrate with them. Next point is US job is not easy to get. So one of the attraction of migrating to Canada for many people is to get a job in United States. Now frankly, United States attraction for job market in my opinion has reduced over last 10 years, and the attraction now is in Asia. But still, if somebody wants to go with this intention, then what you need to know is first you need to settle in Canada, then you need to get a job in Canada and get some Canadian experience. And only then, in majority of the cases, you will be able to get a US job. So this process is 3 to 4 years, really speaking. I mean, if you are from some exceptional field like artificial intelligence, fintech, then it's a different story. But for majority of the people, if you want to get a US job, you need to be prepared to wait for 3 to 4 years. And this period is going to be very difficult and trying because of all the other points I have told to you. And the last point I want to highlight here is the domestic help. That is maid. Everybody knows in Singapore that we can hire a maid. If you are staying in a condo or HDB, you can hire a maid and the maid will stay at your house The maid salary will be somewhere around $600, 500, 600, depending upon the nationality of the maid. You will have to pay some levy, I think it is $260. And on top of that, you will have to spend for maid's food and some clothing and some other allowances. So this total cost comes to be around 1000 to 1200 maximum. Now imagine for $1,200 you get a person to work at your home, to clean home, cook food, take care of children. If you have elderly at home, to take care of them. That is one of the best arrangement I feel. And unfortunately, this arrangement is not available in Canada. You will have to do all your work by yourself. Now what I'm going to do before I close this presentation, I'll just show you something on YouTube. Okay, so on YouTube, I have given this search, why leave Canada? And you will see a lot of videos which people have put and explaining the reasons why they have left Canada. So if you're thinking of migrating to Canada, then think about all these factors which are shown in those videos. In my experience, it is not easy for Asians to settle in Canada. And moreover, if you are in Singapore and are thinking of migrating to Canada, you really need to think carefully because there is going to be a significant change in the lifestyle and the way you live.
Thank you for watching this video. Please subscribe to our channel today. PR Application is a leading immigration consultancy company in Singapore.